Hello everyone, this video is my all-in-one collectibles guide for the Dead Space Remake. This guide is focused on getting you as close to 100% as possible. We're going to be getting all the achievements and also all of the trophies if you're on PlayStation looking for the platinum that involve collectibles. We're going to get all the logs, all the schematics, all the weapons, all the weapon upgrades, all of the suits, all of the side missions done, all of the marker fragments including the alternate ending, and all of that good stuff. So if you're looking for a particular collectible, you might want to check the timestamps down in the description. If they're not in the description, you might want to check the pinned comment below this video. Thank you very much for checking out the video. If you want to support me further, come and check out my live stream channel at twitch.tv/ifreams. Let's get this going. Okay, so very first collectible is a text log. As soon as you gain control of Isaac, just turn around, head left, and you'll find this text log called Background Request. First of 17 in this chapter. So second one is again a text log, and in the room where everyone gets attacked, over on the left, you can find another text log sitting on this table. This one's called Sponsored Article, the USG Ishimura. Very easy one to miss if you're in a rush. Okay, so an obvious one, I don't think anyone's going to miss this, but the first weapon you can get is obviously the plasma cutter right here when you get down the bottom of the elevator. Yeah, I doubt anyone's missing that one. Pretty sure you need it to proceed, but it doesn't hurt to include it in the guide. Alright, moving on to number 4. This one is the first audio log. When you open the door just after getting the plasma cutter, you'll have to open up the door by shooting or punching the lock on the right hand side. Come through here and through this door towards the control room, and you can get the security request right here. So another really obvious one, again I don't think you can miss this, but it's the stasis module. Second weapon pickup of the game. These are all really scripted, but I wanted to include them just so everything's there, you know. So next we've got a missable mission log, and basically after you pick up the stasis, you don't want to use it on the door. You just kind of want to wait until Daniels talks to you, and you'll get that log. Some of these are only triggered if you do certain things in the game, although you don't have to get every single log in order to get the achievement or trophy for getting 150 logs. There are way more than that in the game, but I will do my best to show all of them. So there's a node right there when you enter the tram control, and an audio log right there. That's the second audio log. And next up, we have another missable mission log. This one's to do with the auto loader. You need to press the button in the middle, and then you can load this clamp by interacting with it. But you need to stasis the second one. If you fail stasising the second one, you'll get another call from Daniels or Hammond, and that'll be another log in the list. One thing worth noting is that a lot of the conversations, or all of the conversations that you have with NPCs throughout the levels, will count towards logs. An easy one to miss, but it isn't necessary to get in order to get your achievement. Really just for the completionists out there. So after you've sorted out the tram and you come down here, you have to use the circuit breaker to open up the next area. Before you do that, open up the cargo hall storage, which is here, and there's a node on the wall. There isn't an achievement or trophy tied to nodes, but there is to upgrading stuff, and you need nodes to do that, so I'll show you where all of those are. Next up, we've got another text log. This one is called Repair Invoice. This is when you're in the maintenance bay, I think, and you need to get in the room that I was just standing next to. You'll need to come up this elevator and you can find the circuit breaker that you have to interact with in order to unlock that door. But just to the right of that is the text log we're about to collect. When you're on your way here, look out for the necromorph that's on the floor. Make sure you get rid of him. And here's the circuit breaker, and just to the right of that is the text log just there. Sorted. Alright, so we've got another node, and I'm pretty sure this is in the room where we need to get into, that we need to use this circuit breaker to unlock. So when you come back here, look out for the necromorph that jumps out of the vent to your right. There'll also be one that spawns behind you. Look out for those guys. And then head back towards the elevator. I'm pretty sure once you get down the bottom of the elevator as well, there's more necromorphs that will attack you. So look out for them. If you're interested in getting all of the marker fragments, you're going to need to make sure that you're playing on New Game Plus to get those. Worth mentioning early on. Alright, so take out this necromorph. Let's go ahead and open up this door then. So we got that node just over there. This is where the objective will lead you, so you will end up coming into this room. So there's another text log in here, number 4, which is the poker invitation. Grab that. And the marker fragment is just to the right of the objective you need to pick up. It's on the shelf, and you'll need to smack all the stuff off the shelf. If you've used the timestamps to find those, you might want to drop back a couple of collectibles just so you can see exactly where that is. But yeah, it's in the objective room with the card you need to get to reactivate the trams, just on that shelf. So next up we've got another node, node number 4, almost all the way through this mission. Just keep going. So we need to come into the supply room. This is pretty much on the way back. That elevator we just went up is the one that you originally go down at the start of this mission. And there's that node. So the last collectible we need to get in this chapter is the level 2 suit, and it will be in the shop. The first shop that you can come across will have the suit. Costs 10k credits. Some of the other suits you have to find schematics for, but not this one. It will just be in the suit straight in the shop straight away. So one more thing to take a look at, which is the log list that this chapter has. Like I mentioned before, a lot of the logs that you'll find come through when you're talking to the NPCs and they're telling you where to go and what to do. Okay, so in a moment we'll take a look through my log list and you guys will get to see if you're missing anything in particular. Good idea to check this in between chapters just to make sure you've got everything. Some of them are missable, and you don't need to get all of them like I've already mentioned in order to get your achievement or trophy, but it kind of helps if there's a particular one you are missing. If you're playing New Game Plus, you should be able to look at all of the logs you've got through on your previous playthroughs. There's some chapters where you've got to figure out ones where you can only get one per playthrough, but we'll come to that. Moving on to chapter 2 then. First thing we're going to get is the Kinesis module. Right through here on the left. Pretty sure you can't miss that one. I mean, maybe you could. There might be some point in the mission where you need it. I'm pretty sure there is. So you couldn't carry on playing without that. But I'll include it anyway. Next up, we've got the pulse rifle, which is in the arms of this NPC as you enter medical. Again, a very difficult one to miss, but you can actually leave this behind if you want to. But that's the second weapon of this chapter. If anyone has followed my previous guide, the numbers that are on screen at the top of the screen are going chapter to chapter. I will be releasing a full guide that shows all of them all in one video, but I feel like it's easier to work chapter to chapter at first. So we've got the first node of chapter 2 coming up. Pretty sure I just like to call this chapter medical. even though you do come here twice throughout the game. Right. So after getting that node, we can move straight to getting the next audio log. If you've played this chapter already, it's quite obvious where I am, to be honest. This is the area you sort of run back and forth through. In these first couple of chapters, I wasn't really showing the map as much, but in the later ones I show it a lot more, just because it's easier to get confused. But if you follow in timestamps, you should still easily be able to figure out where I am. This audio log is in here. There we go. Sorted. So next up we've got the first text log, which is called Calculated Risks. I think we need to use the elevator to go ahead and get to this one. So let's turn that on. I really should have skipped this log. I'm talking over it and I hate talking over dialogue. Watch out for the necromorphs as you come up here. Make short work of him. Drag this over. There's another necromorph sneaking around the corner right now if you want to deal with him. Stasis somehow didn't hit that guy, but that's fine. And we need to go into this room to get this text log, which is on the table to your right as you enter. Right there. Sorted. So, next up we've got the first schematic, which is pulse rounds. This is as you're making your way back from getting one of the parts to create the explosive. When you come through the door, after using the zero gravity down the elevator, it's just on your left on the table. So next up we've got audio log number 2, Nicole's log. This starts a side mission called Scientific Method. So if you're trying to get all the side missions, make sure you don't miss this one. You can find a door that's labeled Nicole Brennan. And you've got that audio log right there. In this room, there is also a text log that is on the shelf right there. Like I said, collecting both of those will start the side mission. So next up we've got a video log. I'm pretty sure this one doesn't count towards the logs that you have to collect, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and collect it anyway. Do my best just to show everything. So yeah, you'll have to stand here and watch this play out between Matthias and Kine. What's interesting about this log is that the model they've used for Dr. Kine doesn't actually look like Dr. Kine that you meet later in the game. It's kind of strange. So another text log in this room, the marker discovery. Also, if you're looking for the marker fragments, you can find it behind the bookcase in this room. You need to use kinesis to move it out of the way, and it's just in here on the shelf. You'll need to, again, make sure that you're playing on New Game Plus in order to get that. Next, we've got another audio log. Come back out here and around the back. This is the area that gets quarantined when you enter it. In one of the cubicles, you can find that audio log right there. Next up we've got a schematic, the second one of the chapter, the stasis pack. This is the way you'll have to go to continue the main objective, and as you enter this little locker room, it's right there on your right. That's just before the room before you meet these lurkers, these guys, if there's any confusion. So we're going to get the text log called Vital Personnel. Fourth one of this chapter. Watch out for the lurkers as you enter this room. And the log is just on the table next to the elevator. So we got another node next. If there's any confusion as to where you are, try to take a look at the map. It does tell you the floor and the area on the top left, in case you're confused as to where I am. Right, there's the node. Not needed for an achievement directly, but needed for upgrades that will work towards achievements. So, to get the next upgrade, we're going to have to use the items that we've found throughout Chapter 2 to blow up the blockade here. And you can get the cartridge rack. This is the first upgrade we can find during this chapter. I know this takes a second, but Makes it nice and straightforward to follow. So watch out for the necromorph that drops in here, take him out. Now that we've got kinesis, they're a little easier to deal with. And the weapon upgrade is just on your left on the chair, right there. Right. So, let's go ahead and go in here. We can get text log number 5, which is patient observations. Right there. And this next one will work towards scientific methods, the side mission. You just have to watch the video log of Nicole's. This does take a minute. If you're in a rush or you don't want to stand here watching, you can just run around and pick up everything up that's in the room. But the video log will need to finish for it to count as you doing this step. And if you don't do these steps, you won't be able to get the later steps or go into areas for the later steps. So make sure that you're doing these if you're interested in getting the achievements or trophies tied to the side missions. So now you'll need to mess with the circuit breaker to activate the showers, and then you can open up this sort of hidden door to get in here and get the 4th audio log that we're finding in the chapter called Nicole's Study. And again, this works towards scientific methods, so you're going to want to go ahead and make sure you get that. So next we're going to get audio log number 5, Rats in the Walls. This is just after you leave, or just after you enter the area where you get the battery from, the room we were just in with the video log basically. Again, a very easy to spot area just by the way it looks. And the log is just on the wall right here in this little machine. It's like a security thing. Right, so once you've got that, we're going to get another audio log, number 6, which is called The Colony's Problems. When you come down here, you're going to watch out for the necromorphs that drop in. There'll be ones behind you as well, so watch out for them. I'm pretty sure there's 3 in total. Yep. Let's go ahead and deal with them. Alright. And then at the back, the very end of the room, is the audio log. There's also a node just to the right of that. Just there.
I just got the latest report from Aegis 7. The situation's worse than
sorted. Okay, so text log number 6. For this one, we're going to need to go into the morgue. This is when you come across Captain Matthias. So you'll want to come in here and grab that. There we go. Alright, 3rd node for us to grab. I feel like there's more nodes than that. This may be the 4th node. I think it's the 4th node. I've probably got some work to do with these labels to make sure they're all correct. But there we go. Node number 4. Sorted. Right. Last one is node number 5. These are ones you're going to have to backtrack on to get. That other one we just picked up a second ago is locked behind the level 1 security clearance box, and to get that you're gonna have to have made sure you beat the mission. You will come across that room on your way back, but this one in particular is particularly easy to miss. Once you've beaten the mission, you need to come back this way. I started by the shop, the main shop that's in medical, and then if you head back this way, this is kind of where we picked up the schematic for the pulse rounds earlier, and you can come through. And through this door, you'll need to go up using 0 gravity. Through the door. There we go. And the door on your left can now be opened with security level 1 clearance. Yeah, watch out for other necromorphs that'll pop up as you're on your way back. Alright. There we go. Okay, so after picking up this node, we'll take a look at the log list. You might need to pause the log lists if there's something in particular you want to check out. But yeah, it's a good idea to check these chapter to chapter just to make sure you haven't missed anything. If you see one that says not found, it could be because you've missed one of the missable ones. Again, you don't need to get all of them to get the achievement though. Moving on to chapter 3 then, the first one we're going to get is a text log called It's Mine, and this is where the original Peng treasure was, which is pretty cool.
Says there's a broken cargo lift just beyond the hangar doors. I'll open them now.
Entering zero gravity.
Kind of nice that you see a reference to the original game in there, although you don't get the Peng treasure till much later, and because they sort of reworked this chapter a little bit, they didn't want to make it easy to get early on, I'm guessing. Next up, we've got the rig for Volker. Is that how you say that? I don't know. Volker's rig? It's a side mission item for the mission You Are Not Authorized, which you haven't actually started yet, but you can collect the rigs early. So as we're passing through here, it pays to come and get this rig now. You'll have to get several of these throughout the game in order to get the master security override, but this is the first one we can find. Again, this is chapter 3, far left side. There we go. There's an oxygen tank right next to that as well. I thought I'd show this on the map just so you guys might sort of figure out where it is in case you're stuck. Next up, we've got another text log called Growth. As you come into this area, a couple of lurkers will attack you and you'll need to go down. This is along the main objective route. Takes a little bit of time to get through. And I thought that was the door there, but it's not. Keep going. We're going down, down, down. All the way down to this bottom level. Through this door. Again, this is the main objective way, so if you just follow the tracker, you'll end up in the right place. So come through here, and at the end of this corridor, you can find the text log called Growth. Sorted. So next up, we've got the first weapon upgrade we can find in chapter 3, which is for the plasma cutter, heat accumulator. This one is in the shop, so you just need to buy it. I think there's actually 2 in here, but this is the shop that you'll probably be most familiar with in this chapter. I think it's the only one in this chapter actually. But if it doesn't show up for you, just sort of flick between inventory and the shop a couple of times and it should show up. For me, it didn't show up right away, and I just had to flick between my inventory and the shop a couple of times and then it showed up. But yeah, you've got 2 weapon upgrades in here, one for the pulse rifle, one for the plasma cutter. If you want to get the achievement for getting all the upgrades, you'll need to buy both of those. Quite a bit of money to spend, but you know, what can you do? Next up, we've got Temple's log, the first one. This is the first audio log we can find. It's right here, just next to the shop. And you'll need to come and press this button to start the mission, just to give you a bit of a reference point as to where that log is. Next up, we've got the first weapon we can find in chapter 3, which is the Ripper. And this is following the main objective line. Again, this is a kind of a difficult one to miss, but just in case anyone did, come all the way down the stairs here, and it's just at the bottom of the stairs right there. Easy one to find. Sorted. Alright, you got some Ripper blades there on the side as well if you want those. So, we've got another audio log. This is the second one in chapter 3, called His Own Teeth. And this one is just through the door that was next to the Ripper. There we go. Sorted. Again, you might have found that one if you just explore a little. So, next up we've got a step for scientific methods. Step 3. This is the side mission we've been working on a little bit. Look out for the necromorph that's to your left on this corner as you come around. And providing you've done the other steps, you'll be able to open this door. And then you'll have this scenario with Nicole play out. And let the video log finish. And it will complete this step. Sorted. Okay. So next up we've got another audio log from Temple. Temple's log 02. Third audio log we can find during chapter 3. So once you get to the point where you're coming across this elevator, which you do have to do, you'll have a bunch of necromorphs on the opposite side of you. Take all of them out. I could speed this up, but it kind of gives you a better impression of where you are exactly, you know. So get rid of all the necromorphs. A couple more to deal with once you step off. I think once you step off the elevator, a couple more show up, so watch out for them. Yeah, there's the other one. Alright, he's done for. Head up this ramp and to your left, and just at the back on this sort of box you can find the audio log.
Progress report.
Sorted. So next up we've got the first node we can find in chapter 3, and it's in that locked room that we're next to. We do need to get in there for the main mission, so to do that we're going to have to go and grab the key card for that room. So come along here, deal with the necromorphs that are in the area. The key card is right there. We're just going to need to go back to that room.
Isaac. Hammond.
Daniels?
Thank God. Not to the bridge we saw.
Glad to this point. I barricaded myself
Right.
in the computer core. I can hear them, but I don't think they know I'm here.
There we go.
Down your range.
There's the node. So next up we've got the third weapon upgrade we can find in this chapter. Once you've picked up the Ripper, you'll end up coming back to this area with the shop. You should be able to get an upgrade for it. There we go. It costs 11k, a little bit pricey, but another upgrade you need to get nonetheless. Alright, so now we've got another text log. This one's called Chaos. Text log number 3. And we're going to head down to the area in the elevator. This gets unlocked when you complete the first section of chapter 3. You need to come down this elevator and you'll go through the little area that gets quarantined. So let's head down. I think it's just before you go into that area that gets quarantined. These elevators can take a minute. Alright, should be arriving soon. There we go. And swing a left out of the door, left again. And the audio log is on the floor around the back here, I think. Yeah, there we go. Sorted. Easy.
Clearance confirmed.
Make sure you don't miss all the loot that's in this area as well. So, next up we've got the first schematic of chapter 3. This one's for the medium med pack. You're going to have to go through the quarantine here. So go in, press the button, the quarantine will activate, let that play out, defeat the few necromorphs that drop in, and then just head through the other door. And the schematic is just in front of you in the locker.
Sequence complete. Thank you for your patience.
Sorted. Alright, so next we've got the second node in this chapter. Once you're leaving the area that gets quarantined, head to your left out the door, all the way to the back here. You need to go right to continue with the main objective. But if you come left and all the way to the end, you can find a node right there. Alright, so our fourth text log, which is called the rig transcript. So this is back along the main objective. Just at the other end of the corridor where that node was, you can find this text log just sitting in this hole in the wall. There we go. There's also a semiconductor in the hole if you want to grab that too. Easy. Alright. So, second weapon of chapter 3 that we can find is the flamethrower. You're going to have to shoot this tendril out of the way to get in here. This is towards the engine room. Again, this is a difficult one to miss. You kind of need to come this way. But there it is. Flamethrower. Alright. So now we've got another audio log number 4, Temple's log 03. So for this one, when you're in the area that's covered with all the growth on the walls, you can come around here. I think I actually took the long way here, going all the way around. I could have just gone left, but I took the long way. In the room on the top floor, you can find the audio log sitting on the side right there, sorted. So, next up we've got a node, again, in one of these rooms. The node is right there. If you just search those rooms, you'll end up finding those. Okay, so we got another schematic coming up. This is on the middle floor of this area. Take the elevator down. And I don't think it's in this room. I think I just came in here, my mistake. Yeah, it's in the other one at the back of this area. There's a bench in there though if you want to get it. You'll have to shoot this tendril in order to get rid of the growth in your way. Look out for the little crawlers on your way through this door. I suppose that makes the room easy to identify. You know it's in the room with all the crawlers. Alright, get rid of them, and the schematic is just on your left. for the Ripper blades. Sorted. So another node. This is in the engine room. When you first come in here, you're going to have a bunch of necromorphs to deal with. I've already cleared them out, so just be ready to fight if it's the first time you're coming in here. The node is just here on the wall, tucked away on the right side of the room. So next we've got the third schematic that's on this chapter, the flamethrower fuel. If you take the closest ramp to the right as you enter the room, you can find the flamethrower fuel sitting on the chair in front of the button you need to press. So next up we've got the marker fragment for chapter 3, and this is at the back of the engine room. So come over here to the back, to the left, and the marker fragment is just tucked away in that corner that you just saw me run into. Alright, so another upgrade we can get on this mission is the jellified hydrazine for the flamethrower. It's the fourth one of the chapter, and our last collectible for chapter 3. So let's go ahead and buy that, sell whatever you need to. Okay, so in a moment we'll take a look at the log list for chapter 3. Again, you might want to check through those and just make sure that you've got all the logs. I'll keep mentioning it, but you don't need to get everyone in the game to get your achievement. You just need 150, and you get plenty just through the dialogue with the NPCs. So moving on to chapter 4, the first one we're going to get here is an audio log called Bridge Attack. You'll know you enter the bridge because you'll get this meteorite crash through, and there'll be an automatic seal type thing, but it's just down the first set of stairs to your right. Next up we've got the first text log in this chapter. There are 2 in this room. This one's called Eckhart's Clearance. These 2 are right next to each other. There's one of them, and the second one is literally just next to it, right there. This is in the area where Isaac takes his helmet off and comes to talk to Hammond for a little bit. Kind of easy to recognize. Okay. I think this area is called the Captain's Nest. So, now in the same room, we can start the side mission, You Are Not Authorized. All you need to do here is interact with the panel. You should have already picked up one of the rigs if you've been following my guide. So, go and interact with that. Eventually it will say, You Are Not Authorized, and it'll start the side mission. You need to get all of the rigs for that to work in the end, but you can start the side mission and track it from right there. So, next up we've got a missable mission log, and this is where you first have the fight with the brute in this mission. The first brute you fight in the game, in fact. Basically all you want to do is run away from it and not shoot it at all. Then eventually Hammond will sort of talk to Isaac and say you need to shoot it in the back or something like that. And that gets you an extra log. Like I've mentioned before, some of the logs in the game, well, a lot of them actually, are just given to you through dialogue with NPCs. So you can look at your log list in the inventory sort of section. You press tab or start probably on console and head over to the right, and you can see the list of logs that you've got. And yeah, you might notice that some of those are missing, and some of them are because you only get them if you do certain things throughout the mission. Also, there's a node you get off that brute. Again, it's difficult to miss, but worth mentioning if you're trying to get the Upgrade Everything achievement. Next up is the video log Captain's Fate. This one can be found just behind the switch we need to press to turn on the elevator. So we've got another node coming up, and we're going through the elevator that's closest to the door that the brute breaks through. There are 2 elevators in this room. This one's got 3 floors to it. You want to go to floor 2 to find this node. These elevator rides can be a little bit tedious. Yeah, if you've looked through your logs and you've noticed that you're missing a couple, it might just be that you haven't got a couple of those missable ones. There's also a couple of logs throughout the game that you're kind of forced to miss and you have to do on New Game Plus, but I will mention all of those and show them all. Right, so here's your node in this room, just after the hole gets breached. So now we've got the first weapon in this chapter, the contact beam, coming back out of this room where we just collected that node. Come down here, and it's in this room right here. You will need clearance level 2 to get in this room, and then you can get the contact beam. One of my personal favorite weapons in the game. You get this fully upgraded, or just upgraded even a little, and use the secondary fire. It's super powerful. Very good weapon. Alright, next we've got text log number 3. That's called Tracking Infection. And going into the administration area here, you'll have a couple of necromorphs lurking around in front of you. Make short work of them. And there's a couple of rooms we can get into in this area. So head over to the one on the left first. Open it up with security clearance level 2. You need to break the sort of electronic lock there, the power lock, whatever you want to call it. And then head into server maintenance, which is over on the left side. You can't get in here until you've broken that lock. And again, you will need security clearance to get in here, which you should have by now. And the text log is just on the table in the room. And there's also a node in this room. If you're using timestamps to jump to this node, you might want to just drop back one collectible and watch the way in case you're confused as to where you are. We'll show the map again quickly there though, just in case. So now we have another missable mission log. So these 3 are dependent on the order that you do these objectives in. Most people will probably do what the tracker tells them to do. So they'll do this one first, and I think I think it might be the water filtration last. And you don't need to get all of these logs to get your trophy or achievement. But essentially, once you turn off the power in this room, Hammond talks to you and says, oh, that's the power rerouted. And there are 3 of those throughout this level. You have to do 3 different things like that. And you can only possibly get 2 of them in each run of the game. So try to take a look at which ones you get if you are kind of a bit of a completionist and you just want to get all of the logs. You don't need to do that for an achievement or a trophy like I mentioned before, but if you just want the list of logs complete, then you're going to have to do them in a different order on your second playthrough. But that's entirely up to you. You might just care about the achievement or trophy, which I guess most people will care about more than just completing that list. So next up we've got the break room. Some of you might be familiar with the Easter egg in this room, which I will include.
That marker, that's the symbol of the Church of Unitology.
Didn't take you for a believer, Isaac.
My mother was. But if they found this on some alien planet, what is
Also an interesting bit of lore
Unitology's onto something?
that Isaac talks about here with his mother. So yeah, just in this room, you get that audio log just from going in there. But there's more to that room, so if you come back in, I'm sort of just showing outside of the room, just in case anyone's using timestamps. We are still in the break room. You can find the Unitology article just on the side in that room. Okay, so for these next 2 nodes, again, we're in the break room. You need to stand inside the circle that's in the room and follow this pattern. We need to melee, stomp, and then melee, stomp, and then melee, and then stomp. So yeah, if you just want to follow what's on the top of my screen, M equals melee, S equals stomp, quite straightforward. But doing that pattern will get you 2 nodes, which is kind of nice if you're going for all of those upgrades. And there are 2 more logs you can get in this room from also following patterns like this. All of those patterns are on the top of the screen. This one is melee, stomp, melee, stomp, melee, stomp, melee, stomp. But yeah, this one will give you a text log, and there's another one that gives you an audio log. These, I believe, don't show up in your log list, and I'm not sure if they count towards your achievement. I'm assuming they do, because they are logs. It would make sense that they count towards the achievement, but either way, I thought I'd include them, just because it's kind of cool. Little Easter egg that you get in this room for getting these. So for this one, we need to do melee, stomp, melee, stomp, melee, stomp, melee, stomp. Kind of feels weird saying that stuff, but yeah, do that and you'll get the Easter egg audio log, which is like the little sea shanty It's a parody of the song Wellerman, which is pretty cool. It's actually a lot longer than what I show in this video, but just wanted to show you guys how to get it. Alright, so the marker fragment of this chapter is also in the break room, just next to the screen. You can only get that on New Game Plus, remember. So if you're just playing on your first playthrough on a save, that marker fragment won't be there. Okay, so we got the first upgrade that we can get in this mission, which is for the pulse rifle, the PCSI custom mag. We need to move this stuff out of the way of the window and then shoot the power lock. And then we can come around, open up the door, get in, and grab the upgrade, which is just there. So, next up we've got another node. This is in the room with the panels that can electrocute you. An interesting change on the remake here. There used to be gravity panels that would shoot you up into the ceiling if you stepped on them, and this one they sort of just electrocute you, and they won't kill you. They used to kill you in one on the original game, and I guess that's why they changed it. Okay, so all the way through, look out for the enemies. There'll be 2 lurkers around that corner, but you'll also get 1 slasher sort of lurking up behind you. So be ready for him, take him out, and then continue on. You don't want to be fighting the brute and have that guy come behind you, causing you problems. Here's the 2 lurkers. I could have just showed this clip with me just being in the room with the brute, but I thought I'd just show it all, just in case there's any confusion as to where you are. This kind of gives you a good idea of where this is. If you've already played through the game once, you should remember this room, probably. Alright, so let's get rid of the brute. Grab the node off him. Easy nodes. Okay, so we've got another missable mission log. This one is called Watch the Outlets. And again, the only reason this is missable is because you can do these in any order you want. And if you do this one last, you basically won't get this next log. Most people will do them in the order that I'm showing them. As in, this one would be the second one. But, yeah. If you do want to complete that log list, just make sure you do these objectives in a different order. You can go to them whenever you want, but the tracker will tell you to do them in this order. So, yeah, go ahead and do them in a different order if you just want to complete the log list. Not necessary for achievements and trophies. I know I'm repeating myself, but I can guarantee someone will be asking questions in the comment section like 3 years down the line about this, and I'll do my best just to keep mentioning it. So next up, we've got another weapon upgrade for the contact beam. This one's called the Super Symmetry Tether. You find this one in the shop after you've picked up the contact beam. You will have to pay for it. Okay, another audio log. This one's called Looking for Elizabeth. We are using, I think this is the other elevator to the one we originally took. And this audio log is just sitting on the floor at the bottom of our elevator right here. Hey, you know you're in the right place because you get that guy standing there. Say, make us whole again, who mysteriously disappears.
The bridge looking for you, but it is completely fucked. I'm not sticking out.
Creepy dude. Alright, so here is the last missable mission log. And yeah, so this one is probably the one most people will be missing if they've just followed the tracker. Like I mentioned before, if you want to get this log, you'll need to complete the objectives in a different order. When I show the log list at the end, you guys might understand a little bit. It'll say, oh, I have one log not found, and that is because of this log, or at least one of these. And it will probably be the same for most people. If you feel like you've been really thorough, but you've missed a log somehow, this is probably what it is on this chapter. You can feel free to have a look through my log list at the end of this video and see if it's a particular one you're missing, but it's more than likely this one if you're missing just one.
We still need more power. A couple more systems should do it.
There you go. That log will only play if you do that objective first or second. Okay, so next up we've got a schematic, which is for the intermediate engineer rig. This one is in the EVA prep room right there. Any confusion as to where this is, just drop it back a little bit and check the map. It does tell you the floor and the location as well. Next up, we've got an audio log. This one is for a side mission called Hold On. Well, no, I think the audio log is called Hold On. One thing I probably haven't mentioned yet is the side mission audio logs are actually listed separately from the normal log list.
Cannons to one of my tools. I target an asteroid, cannons.
But there we go, it's just that security box on the wall. So next up we're going to get White's rig, you are not authorized, which is another side mission. This one is out with the ADS cannons. You're going to need to go ahead and make sure that you've taken control of all the ADS cannons and sync them all up, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to show all of that now. You may have already done this, in which case just head all the way to the end. It's literally just past the third ADS cannon control panel. But I'll go ahead and show all of this just so there's no confusion. Also, if you are doing this the same as me, as in you've got to get these cannons done, look out for the two lurkers that jump out. Actually got smacked by a meteor. That's just how much of a Chad Isaac is, mate. A meteor hits him in the face and he just keeps on going. Right. Sync up this cannon. You need to do this 5 times. I actually like what they did with this section. I know some people are super purist and they want exactly what was in the original game put into the remake, and I understand that. But I kind of like what they did with this section. I'm actually happy with it. It's a small change. Doesn't really take away any time or anything like that. It's probably about the same amount of time you would spend on the previous game section, so it's nice. It's a cool little idea they've done. Right, so this is the last cannon that we've got to sync. Let's get that done. And the rig, White's rig, is just past it on the left right here with these floating bodies. Go ahead and grab that.
The ADS cannons are online shipwide. Thank God. Engaging autopilot. Get yourself inside, Isaac. I think I figured out our next move.
Alright, so let's take a look at the log list for Chapter 4. I know I'll keep repeating myself here, but you don't need to get all of the collectibles or all of the logs in order to get the achievement or trophy for it. And some of them you will miss through a playthrough. You can only get one or the other in certain places, but we'll come to that. So the first collectible we've got on Chapter 5 then is the level 3 suit. You'll have to get the intermediate engineer rig schematic, which you should have picked up a little bit earlier. These suits are very expensive though. It's the only problem with them. And the big difference they made from the original is that you have to buy each one. You can't skip suit upgrades, I don't think. You have to buy them in sequence. There's only 14 collectibles for us to pick up in this chapter, which is significantly less than some of the others we've done. Definitely a much shorter one for collectibles. But we're making good progress if you followed this far. I'm proud of you. Next up we've got our first audio log for this chapter, which is called Master's Volunteer. Again, we're back in medical in this area where you've got to kind of mess with the battery and the elevators. Watch out for the guy that's embedded in the wall when you come into this area for the first time. When you come back up this elevator, as this is our return to medical, you'll have to get rid of these tendrils. And when you shoot them out, you'll get attacked, so watch out for that. This guy right here, let's get rid of him. And watch out for the one that likes to come behind you. Those Necros are sneaky, man. They are some sneaky boys. Alright. And all dealt with. Let's keep moving on. And in here is where you can find this collectible. Sorted. Next up we've got the line racks schematic, which is quite close to the one we just picked up. Past the stasis recharge place and towards 0G therapy. To here. And we can now open this door to go ahead and get our schematic, which is right there. Sorted. So next up we've got a node, which is in the same room as the schematic we just picked up. Easy. I'll take a quick look at the map just in case anyone's using timestamps. Right, so node number 2 then. We are starting right here outside of the cryogenics labs. Heading down this elevator. This is, I think, just before you go into the room with Mercer. The node is just there on the wall. Pretty hard to miss considering it's right in front of you, but could still be missed. So next up we've got another audio log, which is Dr. Kine's dementia. As you come through this room after putting the battery in the wall, it's on one of the beds to your left, right here. Okay, next up we've got weapon number 1 in this chapter, which is the line gun. We're going to need to come down here and open up this door. Okay, there's the line gun. There's also a node in this room. Let's go ahead and grab that node. Sorted. Alright. Little look at the map, just in case anyone's using timestamps. Okay, so audio log number 3 is called Sterile Instruments. And this is just before you get to Mercer's little office or whatever. Come down here to your right, and you can find the audio log sitting on a bed right there. Next up we've got a text log, which is called Harris's Choice. We are outside of that same door I just started from a moment ago. And we're going to come through here. The text log is on the table in the back left corner of this room, just before you get to Mercer's office. Alright. Next we've got Mercer's journal, another text log. And I'm pretty sure this one is in Mercer's office itself. So you're going to have to come here along with the story anyway, so you'll probably find this one. But just in case anyone missed it, there it is. Sorted. Alright. So next up we've got the marker fragment. This can only be found in New Game Plus. This is also in Mercer's office, just straight on the table, but you can only get this in New Game Plus. Okay, so there are 2 marker fragments in this chapter. We'll get the last one towards the end of this chapter. So now that we've got the line gun, we can get an upgrade for it by returning to the shop. This one's called the ionized capacitor. Right there. We'll have to pay for it. And they ain't cheap. So, okay, here is the second marker fragment. We're going to get this in the room that we fight the hunter in. When you enter this room, you have to grab the objective item from the middle of the cryogenics machine in the middle of the room. And the marker fragment is sitting on top of the cryo machine. An easy one to miss. Okay, so check the logs from this mission and see if you're missing any. Hopefully you got them all. Alright, so moving on to chapter 6 then, we've got a node up first. The 23rd node that we can collect in this guide. Sometimes I spend a bit too long looking at those map screens, but it doesn't hurt, I guess. It's just outside of this area, and we're not going to leave here just yet. To start a side mission in this level, you want to go back into the cryogenics machine. You can come back here if you've already left medical and grab this, but this will start a side mission for you. So come and grab the tissue sample that's now in the middle of the cryogenics freezer. Okay, so this one is called Premeditated Malpractice Step 1 and 2, and you can track these if you want to. It's up to you. Go and have a look at your side missions in the tracker, and you can choose to track this if you want to. But if you just follow along with me, we're going back through the chemical lab from the cryogenics room. Cryogenics being where we started. We're heading back this way. So you'll probably be familiar with these areas now because you've been here a couple of times. Just in case you're not though, I'll show you the complete route from where we left off last time. Let's keep going. Heading all the way around here. Okay. Down this way. I think this area is called research, but not entirely sure. We're going to need to stasis this door to get through it. Kind of closed on my face. I'm lucky I didn't take any damage there, to be honest. Something worth mentioning, if you're interested, is I have played through this game on impossible mode whilst doing no damage, if you want to go and check that out. You can find that on my channel somewhere. Alright. Down we go. This is the area that gets quarantined when you first enter it. One thing that can happen sometimes is necromorphs can kind of just spawn where they feel like sometimes. And I think if you go into an area that's supposed to get quarantined when necromorphs are in it, it'll get quarantined again. I have seen it happen to me in certain areas. Not in this one in particular, but yeah, it has happened to me. Alright, so we're going to go and find Harris's ICU bed now. This is still for premeditated malpractice. So we need to go pretty much back the way we just came. A good chunk of it at least. I think this is the same side mission. So we've done one section of it. Now we just need to head back and get this next step completed. It's definitely a big chunk of a collectible, but it's fine. It's no bother. Want to help you guys get all those achievements and trophies if you're looking for that 100% completion, or the platinum if you're on PlayStation. It's kind of weird that Xbox never had that kind of thing. The whole achievement for getting all achievements kind of deal. I feel like that's a nice touch on PlayStation. But then again, Xbox kind of has that whole point system, right? So you kind of get like a score. The more achievements you get, the higher score you get. I guess both have benefits. It's all just down to preference at the end of the day. And then Steam doesn't have any of that, but at least it has achievements. The original game, Dead Space, is that old that on Steam it just straight up didn't have achievements. A little bit of trivia there for you. A little bit of IRL lore. But it did have achievements on Xbox. Alright, so now we're getting a node, the second one we've come across in Chapter 6. Coming back down the corridor that we came through very early on. This is where you find the stasis module in Chapter 1. You got to stasis this door to get through it. We're going to come all the way around here. We're kind of backtracking at this point because there's a lot of doors that we can open now that we've got the Chapter 2 or the Level 2 security clearance. I'll try to work some of those out of the way kind of when we can get to them at the beginning of different chapters. So next up we've got an audio log, the second one we can get in Chapter 6, called Cross's Log 01. So this one is just next to you as you're heading into hydroponics. You'll find it in the tram station, just sitting on the table here. An easy one to miss. So next we've got one of those missable mission logs that everybody loves. You can only get one of these following audio logs on each playthrough. So if you figure out which one you've got, do the other one, and then you can complete the list if that's something you're interested in. I mention this every time, but you don't have to complete every audio log in order to get your achievement or trophy. You only need to get 150, and there's a lot more than that throughout the game. But basically, in this area, if you just try and go straight into food storage without using this console you see me standing at now, you will get one of the audio logs, one of the two you can get. If you go to the console first and interact with it twice, and then try and go into food storage, you'll get the other audio log. Again, you can only get one of the following two audio logs in each playthrough. So if you want to get them both, you will have to do 2 playthroughs, basically. But, I'll keep repeating myself and sound like a broken record, but you do not need to get both to get any of the achievements or trophies. You will still get them. You can still get that in one playthrough. It's not a problem. If you just follow along with me, you'll probably get that achievement. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. Okay, so weapon upgrade number 1 is for the Ripper, called the Angled Launcher. Alright. So we're going into this first door on the left, and you've got those things trying to blow on you. Giggity. And then we've got audio log number 3, which is crosses log number 2. This one can be found on the wall.
Security request retrieved.
Right there. Alright, so now we've got a weapon. I'm sort of just starting in the same place here a bunch of times just so there's no confusion as to where I am. I could sort of like link a bunch of these collectibles together and just sort of run around in one route. But because of people using timestamps, I kind of like to just go back to an area you can easily identify and just work from there each time rather than just going collectible to collectible just so nobody gets confused. So we've got another missable mission log here. And when you go to get the first Weezer you encounter, you want to try and shoot it to get this log. If you just go straight up and inject the enzyme, you won't get that log. So, yeah. Alright. So next up, we've got a text log called Corruption. Going to use the elevator here and go to floor 3.
I hope she's okay. The unitologists here didn't like anyone questioning them. And since the captain died, they've all snapped.
Getting a little lecture from Elizabeth here. I don't like to talk over dialogue. Sometimes I have to. Apologies if that makes you cringe like it does me. Alright, so we come into this room with the Weezer. The text log is just on the right on the table. Alright, so now we've got a weapon upgrade called the Subsonic Oscillator. We're back at that elevator we were at earlier. We're going to go to floor 2 this time. Again, I just like to work in areas that are easily identifiable. Just because of anyone using timestamps, you could come from floor 3 to floor 2 to get this one. It's up to you. We are in the same area, but to get this one anyway, we have to come to the shop. So any shop will do. I think this one is for the line gun. It was the line gun that we just picked up, right? Okay. So we're going to get node number 3 now. And we're coming into West Refrigeration. When you come into this area, you'll get these exploder necromorphs coming at you. Make sure you take all of them out. I think there's 5 in total for you to deal with. Alright. Gotta love that upgrade for the plasma cutter that keeps doing damage after you've hit them with your shot. Allows you to just stand there like a boss while those guys explode. Alright, so power node is right there through the door when you come through this area. Halt rig. This one is for the side mission. You are not authorized. Yeah, actually I should make a side note that the upgrade we just got for a gun was actually for the force gun, not the line gun. That's my mistake. Yeah, it's for the force gun. Alright, so when you come into this room and get the Weasel, you're going to get a few enemies attacking you in this room, so look out for that. You'll have some infectors and some normal slashers as well. If you hang out in this room for a second, you can deal with the infectors quite easily. I've actually got a really cool idea for a video coming soon that involves the infectors, but I'm sure you'll see it very, very soon. So when you run into this room, you're going to need to get rid of these tendrils. I could not hit that one tendril to save my life. But yeah, once you get rid of all the tendrils that are covering the pathways in this room, the one on the left will be covering a log that you can pick up. So go ahead and grab that. There it is, Holtz rig. Sorted. Alright, so next up we've got another node. Pretty sure this one is dropped by the brute that attacks you when you get to the bottom of this elevator. So down you go. So when you get down here, just go ahead, fight the brute, And then get yourself a power node. Pretty straightforward. Easy. Easiest way to kill these guys is just to stasis and get behind them, shoot them in the legs. Seems to work for me. Okay, so next up we've got audio log number 4, which is Cross's log 03. So for this one, we're going to need to get the battery that is at the back of this room. And we need to open up this over here. The marker fragment we're going to collect is also in this room. Before we can use that zero gravity panel, or that panel to turn off the gravity, we're going to need to grab this keycard that's in this room. I tried to grab that box and smash it, but it just didn't work out for me. I just abandoned the quest. So I'll grab the battery, stick it in the wall, and then activate the only thing on the circuit breaker, which is the gravity. And then once that's done, you'll get attacked by a few enemies, deal with them. Don't want them flapping about while you're trying to use no gravity to your advantage. Alright, so up we go. Up towards the top level of this area. There's still a couple more enemies around, so be careful. Drop down here, watch out for more enemies. And Elizabeth's log is right here on the far side. Okay, so next up we've got the marker fragment. I'm starting again from where we put the battery into the circuit breaker. Just so you can follow along if you're using timestamps, we're going to come all the way up here. And this is very close to where the Visa is in this area. Over here, in the back corner of this room, right there is where the marker fragment is. Okay, so next up we've got our 5th node on this chapter. So we're heading into this area. This is just before a 0G area. Right there on the wall. Next up we've got a schematic for force energy. This one is a little bit tricky to find because it's kind of wrapped up in all these areas with the tendrils and whatnot in the wall. Come up here, turn off that thing that's spitting electricity everywhere, and you can find the schematic just in this hole in the wall that's down and to the left of that. Right there. Okay, so next up we've got a text log called Technical Manual. Text log number 2. Look out for the necromorph that attacks you just before you enter this room. This is just above those engines that are malfunctioning. I can't get my words out. There's the text log. Technical manual. And last but not least, we've got a node in the same room. Right there. 6 nodes in this chapter. Right. So last thing to do is quickly check the log list. Like I mentioned before, there are 2 audio logs in this mission, which you can only get 1 of, so you should have one that says not found until you go around and do New Game Plus to get the other one. I did explain that a little bit earlier. First collectible of chapter 7 is a node, and it's really early on in this area, just over here on the left. As you enter, you'll find these kinesis boxes on your left. Just open up the box after moving them and get that node. Next up we've got an audio log, first one of this chapter, called Ore Storage Report. This is for a side mission. When you first come into mining, you'll find these lasers blocking your way, and a necromorph will run into one of them. You can either shoot them, or you can use the boxes to block the lasers if you want to save ammo. Entirely up to you what you do. I just like to shoot them so I don't have to worry about them on the way back. Alright, so we're going to come into this room, and behind these kinesis boxes on the left you can find the security message, which will count for the side mission.
Security request retrieved. Related rig activity.
Listen to that, and yeah, it will count for the side mission. Alright, next up we've got a text log. This one is called the miner's log. So when you're heading into this area, you'll get this guy in front of the door. You can either walk around him or just wait for him to be finished with his animation. I haven't got time to wait for him. Watch out for the infector that drops into this area. Get rid of him. And head up the ramp that he comes from, and you can find a text lock sitting on the table to your right. So next we've got another text log. This one's called Mining Progress, and you can start just next to where you get the battery to power the elevator in this area. The game was trolling me and made me pick up this piece of metal instead of the battery. It's always nice. So go ahead, slap that battery in and head upstairs or up the elevator. Alright, so once you're up here, head all the way around. Watch out for the crawlers that are on the corner. We will have to come back here a little later to get the security door, but we haven't got the clearance for that yet. You get it during this mission. That's clearance level 3. But there's the text log. Sorted. Alright, so next up we've got a video log. This one is a video log of Temple. I'm not sure if this counts towards the log list, but it doesn't hurt to get it nevertheless. It's just on this table as you enter the next area you'll come to. Any confusion as to where I am whilst picking these up, just look at the beginning of the collectible we're getting, and it does show you the map. The floor is there, and also the room name is at the top left of the map. This one is an audio log, second audio log, called Dr. Kind's Hostage. So this one is just next to a door that is currently locked. We'll be opening that door in a minute, but let's get this audio log first. When you first come into this area, there will be a bunch of necromorphs to fight, so watch out for them. But there is our audio log. Next up, we've got a schematic for contact energy, or ammo for the contact beam. Starting outside that collectible we just got, we got to open up this door that I just mentioned. Let's head back here a little bit, and you can shoot through the window here to hit the power lock. And then run around so that you can open that door. Let's get that sorted. Also in this room you can find a node just to the left of where you just picked that up. Not needed for an achievement, but you need them to upgrade stuff, and upgrading stuff counts for achievements or trophies if you're on PlayStation 2. Alright, so next up we've got an audio log. This one's called Supervisor's Choice. When you come into this room, you'll have to throw debris into the beam in the middle of the room, and then you'll get attacked by a bunch of necromorphs once you activate the gravity. And you'll need to come in this room to grab the rig that's on the floor so that you can get security clearance, but there's also an audio log just next to it, which is what we just picked up. Make sure you don't miss that. You will need to pick up this security clearance rig. Just make sure you don't miss the log. Alright, next up we've got a marker fragment. Still in that same room. Head back after you get the clearance. You need to have security clearance 3, which you'll get just after going through this room, like I just explained. And then head back this way. I think this is mineral storage or something like that. Open up this door, and you can find the marker fragment in there. Again, you need to be on New Game Plus to get the marker fragments. So next up we've got our fourth audio log, which is Nicole and Dr. Kine. Counts towards a side mission. I think if you haven't done the steps for scientific methods, you won't be able to open this door. So if you haven't done that, you'll have to check the other sections of the guide. The other steps are in different chapters. But there's the log, just through this door. There's also another audio log in this room, which is a bit of an Easter egg. It plays the conversation Isaac and Nicole have at the beginning of Dead Space 2.
Nicole?
I'm so sorry, Isaac. Look at the time difference. I'll call you back later.
It's okay. How you doing?
Good. You were right, Isaac. The Ishimura is a great ship. I am so lucky to be serving aboard her.
We'll enjoy it while it lasts. You know they're gonna decommission her next year.
Isaac, thank you.
For what?
For just pushing me to do this. I mean, if it weren't for you, I never would have made it this far because you made me stick with it.
Well, just Just remember, I'm giving you up for 6 months so you can do this.
You know what? We must be getting out of range of the relay.
Nikki.
Isaac,
Nicole? Nicole? Hey, can you hear me? Hello, Nikki. Great.
Kind of cool that they added that.
Do this. You'll put things back the way they were. And make us whole again.
Alright, next up we've got the second schematic of this chapter for the intermediate minor rig. This is just after you interact with Nicole. And you'll head into this room to get the objective for you to continue with this mission. But the schematic is just on the table next to the objective, which is right there. Next up we've got another node. And starting from where we grab the objective I just mentioned, just after we've interacted with Nicole, we're going to have to come up the elevator.
I'm good. I got the SOS feed. Nicole helped me out.
Nicole's there.
We got separated. She'll find her way back.
She's a trooper, huh?
I'm heading back to the mining control room. I'll launch the beacon.
Alright,
Watch out.
node is just on the right side of the door. Right, next up we've got a weapon upgrade. This one is for the flamethrower, the macro lighter fuel tank. You're going to need to turn the zero gravity on at the control panel and then head this way. Watch out for the little tentacle monsters. So this is the elevator we took to originally get to this area, but you have to zero grav it back. And this room is just beneath sort of walkway that's on the left side. If you're a bit confused as to where this is, I will show the way back in a second so that you can find it a little easier. But there's the upgrade. There's also a node in this room. Make sure you don't miss that. It's in the back left corner of this room as you enter. Right there. So if we're heading out of this room, I'll quickly show you the way to go back. In case you're backtracking to get this one in particular. But yeah, just up here is where you'll have to go to continue with the main objective. Right here, and this is also how you get to this area. Alright, so the level 4 suit, you're going to have to get this from the shop, but you'll have to collect the schematic first, which is I think the intermediate minor rig. 35k credits. These upgrades and suits are expensive, man. That's why you want to do your best to get as many credits as you can from enemies you take out, or just finding them in boxes, lockers, lying around. Make sure you collect everything you can if you go in for a run where you get all of the upgrades and all that good stuff. You can't get all of the weapon upgrades in one playthrough. You're going to need to do at least 2. Which is rough, but that's just the way it is. Alright, so node number 4. We are back in this area. Or is this node number 5? I'm not sure. I may need to take a look at my edit here. All the nodes are here. I'm just not sure if I've got the numbers right, but I'll fix it before I post the video. Right, so now that we've got security clearance level 3, we can open this door. Watch out for the necromorph in the room. And the node is just to the left. Alright, so after grabbing that node, we're gonna have a little look at this log list. Check through these, make sure you've got all the logs. Helps you find the missing ones. Compare them to the timestamps if you feel like you are missing one. Alright, moving on to chapter 8 then. First thing we're going to get is the oxygen tank schematic. And have a little look around here so you know where I'm starting. This is mining / engineering. Just to give you a reference of where to start. We're going to head on into engineering. And you will have already been here. I think this is chapter 3, I think, when you originally come here, when you get the Ripper and stuff. But because now we have security clearance, we can open a couple of doors that we couldn't when we originally came here, so it pays to backtrack at the right time to go and get these doors. So we're going to come down into refueling. Look out for any necromorphs that have spawned up on you. This does tend to happen. Let's open up this door where we can get our schematic, which is right here on the left on this table. Easy. Alright, next up we've got a node. which is in this room. If you're confused as to how to get here because you're using the timestamps, just drop back to the beginning of the video and you'll be able to find how to get here. But there's the map, just in case. Okay. So next up we've got Rosu's rig, or Rosu's rig. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. This is for the side mission, You Are Not Authorized. We're slowly collecting these so that we can open up the doors and the boxes with master clearance. But yeah, we'll get there eventually. You have to backtrack a few times in order to get all of these rigs. I almost went the wrong way there. We're going back towards just sort of like where the shop is, the main area, I think. Or at least we're going near it. Yeah, we keep going this way towards the engine room. Alright. You can take a few different routes to get to where we're going right now. Again, look out for necromorphs. But this one works just fine for me. Alright. I don't think we actually have to go into the engine room, we just sort of go near it. So yeah, going through the next door would take us into the engine room, but we're going to take a left before we go through there, all the way back down here. This is the way you would have originally came to the engine room. And this takes us back to the room with the growth all over it, and the elevators and stuff. Alright, so we're going to take the elevator up. Okay, head around. Like I said, there's a couple of different ways to get here, but however you do get here will be just fine. All of those ways are still open. In some instances in the game, some doors lock and whatnot, and you can't backtrack through them, but this mission, it's fine. We're going over to that door. I think this one is actually security clearance level 2. Yeah, oh no, it's 3. Maybe the previous one was 2. But we have that anyway after doing chapter 7. So in here you can find another one of these rigs. There's a look at the map, just in case you're confused as to how to get here or where this is. Look out for enemies jumping you in this room. So also in this room you have the Chief Engineer's log, which is for another side mission. Make sure you don't miss that as well. Okay. So, next up we've got a video log for the side mission Premeditated Malpractice. This is step 4 of that side mission. If you've missed the other steps, you're going to have to watch the other sections of this guide.
Waste more time and record this. Satisfied?
Alright.
We have a dead miner. We can't sedate Brand Harris.
Wasn't Harris originally your
So basically watch this video log through.
Captain, Harris is suffering from a dementia that we don't fully understand. He was making progress until Dr. Mercer took his case over my objections.
I've read them. And frankly, this vendetta against Dr. Mercer just sounds like more of your bigotry.
My what?
Do you deny that you've counseled members of our church and turned them against hematology?
I'm telling you that Mercer's treatments are immoral and dangerous. And why does he keep taking Harris to hydroponics? Medical is a sanctuary, not Mercer's private lab, so stop covering for him.
More accusations, and still no proof. You know your way out.
He won't stop with Brand Harris, Captain. You know that.
Oh dear.
Tracking related rig activity.
Alright. So, that'll give you the next step of that side mission. Now we've got a missable mission log. And for this one, we want to approach the console for the comms array before we go into the room. If you go in there before, or go in there and solve the puzzle, you won't get this log. And you'll have to get it in New Game Plus. So just make sure you approach it before you go into the room.
Wired the dishes together and blew out the system.
So we're screwed.
No, it was sloppy work.
Alright, next up we've got another video log. Again, I don't think this one counts towards anything, but I thought I'd include it. It's just to the right as you head through the door that leads to the comms array. Just click on this table and you'll get the video log. I really don't think this counts towards anything, but
Matthias, the Paragon Joe,
it doesn't hurt to include it.
be praised.
Alright.
Thysa.
It may very well count towards something. But either way, let's get it. Alright, so next up we've got an audio log. This one's called Mayday. It's in this room, right here.
First comms operator Bailey reporting. I want this on record.
So in the same room, you can get Bailey's rig, which is for the side mission You Are Not Authorized. Again, getting that master override. This is all really close to the comms array room. There's the console over there, so it's just on the left side of this room if you're facing the panel. Alright, next up we've got the marker fragment you can find in this chapter. Again, this you can only get this if you're playing on New Game Plus. And this helps you get the alternate ending if that's something you're interested in. But again, you need to be on New Game Plus to get this. Look out for the necromorphs when you enter this room. If this is the first time you've come in here. Over at the back of this room you can find this sort of hole. It's to your left as you enter, and the marker fragment should just be floating in the middle of that hole. Alright, next up we've got a node. And this node is back where we came from, back into the comms access hall, away from the comms array. Move these kinesis boxes out of the way, look out for surprise necromorph attacks. Get rid of him. Yeah, these kinesis boxes need to go. It wouldn't let me grab them for some reason. I think they were kind of jammed or something. There we go. Should be able to go through this door now. And it's just to your left as you enter this room. This is just before you take the horizontal elevator, I guess, whatever you call it. This one. I guess it's like a mini tram or something like that. What would you call this? But either way, let's go ahead and get the text log that you get at the end of this mysterious device called the Comms Array Crew. The first text log that we've actually found in this chapter. Lots of audio and video logs for us. Next up we've got a weapon upgrade for the plasma cutter, always good. This one's called Weighted Blades. And when you head through here, you'll have some necromorphs in the elevator when you open it, but let's not mess with them for now. And in here on the bench is the upgrade. So now we're going to use the elevator to get the third node of this chapter, and you'll have a necromorph waiting for you inside it. So make sure you're ready for him. Take the elevator to the only place it can take you. Alright. So, there's the node. Just at the end of the corridor. Alright, so quick look at the log lists. Make sure you don't miss any. Just in case, I'll show all the names so you can find the one you're missing if you need to. Might need to pause the video. Okay, so let's move on to chapter 9. Onto the Valor. Very few collectibles in this mission. First up, we've got a text log number 1. You're going to want to make sure you get all these collectibles while you're on this mission, because you can't backtrack to this area like you can with many others. Alright, so there's the text log as you come into this room. Next up, we've got an audio log in the same room. This one's called Alien Borders. As these two I've sort of connected together, we'll take a quick look at the map, just in case you're not sure where this is. Just in case you're using timestamps. Alright, next up we've got a node. So from this room where you grab the battery to activate the elevator in the next room, very close to where you enter the Valor, you can come through this door and get the node. Right there. Again, another look at the map, just in case you're using timestamps. So, we can get one of the miscellaneous achievements in this area at the shooting range. This is just as you enter the armory. It's the door opposite you. All you need to do to get the achievement is get rid of all of the enemies that drop into the room. You can shoot the targets for fun if you want to, but I don't think it matters like what kind of score you get. You just need to kill all the enemies that drop into the room whilst you're doing the whole shooting range thing, and you'll get a node for doing this as well, so it pays to do this. Only problem is if you're doing a plasma cutter run, you don't get given plasma cutter ammo. In the original game, you had infinite ammo whilst doing this, even though it was kind of a little bit different. They sort of changed this into a shooting range that you run through. They do give you a bunch of pulse rifle ammo, but they don't give you anything for the cutter. So one thing you'll want to do before you come onto the ship is make sure that you've got enough ammo, because there isn't a shop on the Valor. There used to be on the original game, but there isn't on the remake, so ammo can be a real struggle in this section. Alright. Almost died from that. That guy got a little bit too close. So, I think this is probably the last one. Yep. And once the red lights go away, you can go and open up all the lockers. And that will get you the node. But you should get an achievement just for beating the shooting range and taking out all the enemies. There's a few other things like a ruby semiconductor there too, which is always nice for a few free credits. Next up, we've got the schematic for the large med kit. It's kind of sucky that there is a schematic on this mission, just because it can lock you out of an achievement if you don't get it. Just like I mentioned earlier, you kind of get locked out of this mission. So, you want to go ahead and get your schematic, which is in this room. Watch out for the speedy necromorph that comes at you when you enter, but it's just to the left in the room with all the lasers. That guy managed to make it past me. Alright. So, the last thing we can get on this, there's one more collectible actually after this. This is a node that gets dropped by the brute when you get the quarantine in this room. You'll need to defeat a bunch of enemies before the brute comes in. He comes in last. So I'll show you the whole fight just so there's no confusion. Watch out for those explosive guys. That lurker was way too close. And I was just for some reason that lurker would not take damage. I have no idea what's going on there. I'm pretty sure I was hitting him, man. It's like an invincible lurker or something. It was really strange. I ended up stomping on him a couple of times. Kind of looked like my shots were hitting, but the game just wasn't registering them for some reason, but oh well. He died in the end. Hitting these speedy guys in the chest is difficult, but kind of necessary. They move so fast that you want to hit them with stasis, but you can't hit them with stasis whilst they've got that blue light still in their chests for their stasis module. You have to shoot that first. Kind of something that makes these guys a lot tougher in the remake. Alright, so after you've dealt with all of them, the brute will break in, give him some stasis, and just shoot him in the back. He gave me the business a little bit here, and it's kind of tough if you're in the wrong spot because you've got these electrical panels in the way, so it's harder to get behind him, but I just like to stasis these guys and shoot them in the legs. It's kind of the easiest way to get them killed. There's the node. Easy. Alright, so our last collectible, in fact, I think is another node that you can find in the engine room with all the flames. Don't get yourself burned. You can get this node on the way back when you shut off the flames by activating the, I think it's like the flame suppressor or something like that. But you might need to use this kinesis box to block some of the flames. You can also use the box to get to the node early, although it's a little trickier to get back. So you might want to wait until you've turned off the flames and get it on your way out of this area. Okay, so let's take a little look at the log list. Very few logs for this mission. Even the ones with the NPCs, it barely goes over a page. Have a little look, see if there's anything you're missing. Let's go to chapter 10 then. We are starting out at the bridge. And we're going to start working on getting Benson's rig towards the side mission You Are Not Authorized. Let's go. So, this is the longest chapter collectibles-wise in general, by far. Just because we have to backtrack a lot to get a bunch of collectibles. In this section of the game, we actually get to the point where we have the master level clearance, so we can open all the doors that are locked. By master level, there's a bunch of upgrades we can get. So first of all, we're just going to backtrack and get a ton of that. And one of them is right here. You actually can't get this one until you reach this chapter. but we're going to work on getting that master clearance before we go and get a bunch of the others. And that is the last rig we need, I think. So, to get this achievement, we're going to need to go back to the bridge. If you have already got all of the rigs in a separate order to me, you can just go back to the bridge by going to the tram station and hopping on the tram to the bridge. You need to go back to the captain's nest, basically. So you also get an achievement or a trophy for completing the side mission. I'm pretty sure you get achievements or trophies for each of the side missions that you complete, which is nice. So all the way back down here, this is where you have the original conversation with Hammond before chapter 9. So down we go towards the escape pods, past those and into the nest. I think it's called the captain's nest anyway. Let's see. Yeah, captain's nest. In we go. So interact with this console. That'll get the master security clearance and get that security, that side mission finished. All right, next up we've got a weapon upgrade. Weapon upgrade number 1 of this chapter for the pulse rifle. We need to go through the elevator that's closest to the captain's nest. There are 2 elevators in this area, so make sure you take the right one. This is for high yield grenades. So once we reach the bottom of the elevator, come out the door and go through the door to your right, which you can now open with master security clearance. So in one of these lockers you will find the weapon upgrade. There it is. 34 collectibles to get in this chapter. So next up we've got a node you can find in the same room. I'll check the map quickly for anybody who's using timestamps just to get the nodes. This is at the bridge section of the game. Alright, so next up we've got a weapon upgrade. This one's precision lasers, the second weapon upgrade we can get for the line gun. Sorry for the quick pause there. We're going to come this way and hop in the elevator. We're having to go to many different areas. Is this hydroponics we're heading to? I think it might be. But either way, there's the weapon upgrade. If there's any confusion as to where you are, just check the map at the beginning of the collectible. Usually helps. Next up we've got another node. Heading into Hydroponics Central. This is where you'll create the enzyme in Chapter 6. We're going to swing through to the West Tower. Open up this door, and this is the room that has the things that are spraying like acid at you or whatever. And at the end and on your left, you can open up this door now. Pretty sure that's level 3 clearance you need for that one. But the node is just to the left as you enter the room. Right there. Alright, there's the map in case you're confused as to where this is. We've got another node coming up, starting from the same room in Hydroponics. Going back towards flow control. We're going to use the elevator to get up. Alright, look out for any necromorphs that might spawn whilst you're on your way back. It can happen randomly, so even though I haven't got any enemies here, you might have a couple, just watch out. Alright, so you want to take the elevator here to floor 2. Up we go. Kind of a long way to backtrack for a node, but I do want to include all of them to help you get those achievements and trophies tied to upgrade and everything. Alright, so now we're going to go into this room on our left. In this area you've also got some stuff for side missions. This one is nutrition systems. Watch out for the necromorph that runs through the door when you enter this area. You won't be able to get this node if you haven't completed the steps for the side mission we're about to show shortly. Okay, I think it's premeditated malpractice or something. So next up we've got the weapon upgrade number 3, which is the prototype stasis module. I'm not sure if this counts towards anything, but it's part of something. It's either counts towards a side mission or it is actually a weapon upgrade, I'm not too sure. But either way, it's in this room, in the same area, right there. Look out for the necromorph that jumps in the room. Working discreetly. And the trophy is called Final Regeneration. Okay. This is for the side mission. I'm not sure what side mission it's for, but you will have done the other steps if you follow along with me. There we go. Sorted. Alright, weapon upgrade number 4 then is the Ripper Carbon Fiber Blades. So, I think we're heading back to engineering, yep. Looks like it. A lot of stuff to backtrack for in this mission. So many of these boxes that are dotted around the place. It's hard to remember where they are. I remember on my casual playthrough I really struggled to find where they all were using the map. So hopefully me showing the map as much as I do helps you guys out. But also once you see these areas you kind of remember where they are, you know. If you've been here a couple of times already, you'll probably remember these areas. Especially if you've played the original game. But there's the box right next to the bench. There's the weapon upgrade. Carbon Fiber Blades. Alright, we've got another one now. Weapon upgrade number 5. The contact beam diffraction module was starting out still in engineering where we just picked up that last upgrade. We're going to head back. I think we need to go to mining for this one. Let's go. Alright, all the way back towards that tram station. Pretty sure we just need to pretty much run through the tram. We don't actually need to use it. Because mining is just on the opposite side with the tram. Just kind of convenient for us. Off we go. So we don't have to go too far into mining for this one. Pretty sure it's just around this corner. You need to move these boxes out of the way to find the door. It's having a little bit of trouble here figuring out this stupid puzzle, but got there in the end. Yeah, I had a bunch of stuff in my way. It wasn't going too well. There we go. Now I can move this one. Watch out for the necromorph that pops up right here. Little nuisance. But there's the door right at the beginning of mining, which is nice at least. In we go. And in the box you can find a weapon upgrade. Sorted. There's the map in case you're confused as to where this is. Alright, next up we've got another weapon upgrade, number 6 for the contact beam, portable heliotron. Okay. So, it's a good look at the map for you. We are, I think this is medical. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Again, we're going to go and open one of those doors we previously couldn't unlock. Let's keep going down this way. I'm pretty sure this one is right next to the cryogenics room where the hunter first attacks you. Not sure what hit me there. Don't know if it was like something bursting through the door. It didn't look like the door hit me, but it was either that or a necromorph burst through the vent. Definitely got hit by something. Alright, so all this way, this is the main route you will take when you're doing this mission. Chapter 2. We're going to go through here. This is where you first encounter the lurker, and this is also where I think you get the stasis pack schematic. But yeah. Hopefully this place rings a bell for you. And there is the security door. I almost went the wrong way there, but yeah, there it is. Right in there. I'll take a quick look at the map, hopefully, in case there's any confusion as to where we are. I know some of these are very separated, so if you want a reminder, there you go, that's where it is. Alright, next up we've got a weapon upgrade number 7. This one is for the line gun photon energizer. So we're starting out at the shop in medical, and we're heading this way. This is the first area you'll come to when you come to medical. It's very dark now. That's where you see that guy bashing his head off against the wall. Alright, so yeah, I think this is the one that's next to cryogenics actually. Doesn't matter what order you do these in, as long as you get them all, you know. Bear in mind as well, when you get a weapon upgrade, you take it to the bench, you do get a free node from doing that, which is nice. So hopefully getting all of these will just get you a bunch of nodes. Kind of decent. Watch out for the necromorph that jumps in the room. And Pretty sure it's in one of these foot lockers. Yeah, there it is. Photon Energizer. Sorted. Quick look at the map. Why not? Okay, so next up we've got the schematics for the advanced engineering rig. This is actually in the area for chapter 10. This is the area with all the bodies in it. And you'll come along this route to get to the showers. Just past it is where you need to go to get to the Z-ball area. But the schematic is in this room with the shower, which you can actually end up missing if you don't come through this room. You don't have to come through it, so an easy one to miss. Next up we've got a text log. The Z-ball rules. You do have to come into this room. The text log is just on this stool next to the area that you have to go into to get the battery, the Z-ball area. So next up we've got the achievement for Z-baller. For this one, you just have to beat 6 levels of Z-ball. Pretty much all you have to do is grab the ball and throw it into the holes. Bear in mind that if the hole is lit up, like that green one is right there, you'll get more points. Just to make it a little bit easier for you, once you've done all of that, you'll get a node out of one of the reward lockers. You get ammo and a bunch of stuff, but yeah, there's a node in the final one for being level 6, which is pretty useful. Nice. Alright, so now we can get the level 5 suit after finding the schematic that we picked up a little bit earlier in the shower. This will give us the advanced engineering rig. This one costs 60k credits. We've spent a lot of money on suits throughout this run. And upgrades as well. It's probably a good couple of 100k that you'll spend. I'm pretty sure there's like 100k alone on suits. If this one's 65 or 60, and the last one we got was 35, I mean, right there, that's 95k. The first suit upgrade you get is 10. I can't remember what the others were, but this is, you know, well over 100k there. There we go, sorted. The level 6 suit you get for beating the game on New Game Plus. You can get it during New Game Plus. So, our 5th node of this section of the run. So as you come through this room that have got those monsters that fall to pieces in them, you can go left or right. It's right to the elevator, but if you come to the left, you'll find this little box with a node in it. So, next up we've got a text log, the second one of this section, called Thank You Doctor. This is the elevator you'll have to take. Be careful when you first come to this elevator because you'll get attacked by a necromorph from down where that power node was. So when you come into this room, you'll see Mercer talking via like a hologram or whatever, and you'll see all this stuff piled in front of a door. Move it all out of the way, come in here, go to your right, and you can find the text log right there. Sorted. So from the same room you can find a node. This is the room that have got those tentacle monsters on the wall in. You want to take them out. There's one on your left, I'm pretty sure, as well. There's actually 2 of these guys, so be careful running over to your left. You can make it to this door just by taking out one of them, but if you get close to those guys, I'm pretty sure they insta-kill you. So watch out for that. The text log is in this room. This is where you need to grab the battery from to continue in this chapter. But yeah, get the node that's in here also. You will have to come in here for the main objective, but it's easy to miss that node. Next up, we've got another audio log. This one is for side missions, scientific methods. This will give you the achievement trophy called Whole Again. You'll come into this room for, I think, destroying one of the tendrils. But if you come into this room, which will only be open if you've done the other steps of the side mission, you'll get this sort of thing play out with Isaac, where he has to watch this conversation between him and Nicole. I'll speed this up because it's kind of long. I could have just edited it out, to be honest, but oh well, we're here now. Let's just get it out of the way. After we beat this mission, the last 2 missions are really short when it comes to collectibles. Alright, we're almost done with this conversation. Sorted. Alright. So, audio log number 2 then. Side missions, scientific methods. Right in here. Watch this log, let it play out, and get your achievement or trophy. There's also a collectible in this room. Sorry, I think it's a weapon upgrade. Yeah, it's a weapon upgrade. But I think I might leave the room and show it again because other people may not be familiar with how to get here. Although I think to get here, you have to do the scientific methods mission. But just because this one can be a little bit tricky to find the route to, if I just pick it up from in that room, I'll show me going back there. So this is the room where you have to destroy the tendril with the control panel on the end of it. Go in here to the consultant's office or whatever it's called, and you can get the force gun upgrade. If you just followed along with me, you can just grab it in the same room. But I wanted to be thorough with this chapter because I know that it can be a little confusing with how close together so many of the collectibles are. So next up we can get a marker fragment. This is in the room that gets quarantined. For this one, you'll have to come in here and come this way to get the battery out of this room. This is where you'll find the woman laughing. So come in here, grab the battery. The enemies won't attack you until you shoot the tendril. But this one will spawn next to the control panel once you pick up the battery. So be ready for him. Watch your back, make sure nothing's coming behind you. Slap this in the battery hole. And you want to open up the doors for this. There's another enemy coming. Yeah, they don't like us messing with batteries. Alright, so now we need to head back. You can shoot the tendril now if you want to, but if you want to just get this out of the way before you do that, that's entirely up to you. So go back the way you came, come this way, and now these doors will be unlocked, and you need to come into the deluxe quarters on the right, or left, it doesn't really matter which side, and the marker fragment is on the table on the left side of the room. So now we need to work on going back into the same room, but just in case anyone's using timestamps, I'll basically show how to do all of that again. If you've just followed along with me and got into that room, this upgrade is in that same room. But for anybody who is using timestamps, you need to come in here to the deluxe bunks, I think they're called, or something like that. Grab the battery, back through here, and you need to throw this battery. I actually threw it the wrong way there. You need to throw it to the right to put it into the wall. Watch out for the necromorph that will spawn next to the control panel if you haven't already done this yet. So put that in, activate the doors, and then go back the way you came. It's this way. Okay. And you want to go into the door on your right or left, doesn't really matter. Into the deluxe quarters, and you can open up the box that's on the left side of the room. Right there. Well, it's on the back wall. There we go. That's that flamethrower upgrade. Sorted. Okay, don't forget to loot this room as well. Got a semiconductor there. It's kind of a difficult one to get into, so it pays to get all the loot. I think I let this video play, this part of the video play for a little bit longer than I should have, but yeah. Okay, so next up we've got an audio log. Audio log number 3. This one's called Planetary Sacrifices. Starting from where the marker is, in the, I think it's called the Central Nexus. We're going to go left and through this door, back towards the executive quarters. May not have already been here, you may have already been here, but we'll get these as we go through. So, text log number 3 then is called Planetary Mining, an Investor's Guide. Alright. It's just in this room as you enter. Same room. We're going to get text log number 4, which is called Eternal Rest. And we need to go into this room, which is Captain Matthias's quarters, where we can find the text log in the back. We're going to need to come back to this room once we get the last marker fragment, so that we can actually activate the alternate ending if that's something you're interested in. Next up, we've got text logs number 5, starting in that same room. This one's called White's List. We're going to go over here into this room that's barricaded up. And text log is just on the table to our left in this room. Sorted. Okay. So node number 7 then can also be found in this same room. I know I keep starting from this point, but I thought it best because we're getting so many in the same area, and I know some people are probably using timestamps to find individual things. So right there is the key card that we need to get. in order to get into the room that has the node in it. The tendril you need to destroy is actually at the back of that area as well, but let's clear out these collectibles first. Open up this room with the security card. You can now open this box and get yourself a gold semiconductor. You don't need to do that, but why not? Smash the power lock that's in this room, and then you can get into the next room so that you can get the node. Kind of a long-winded one, but there we go. This also gives you a part of the code for the sea shanty we got earlier, but we've already done that. Text log number 6 then is the Nexus organism. This is again starting at the central Nexus. We're going to go this way over to our right, facing the marker from the top level. Go through here, and when you come into this area you'll have a conversation with Kine if it's the first time you've come here, but we're not too worried about that. Come into this room and the text log is just on the table. If you're playing on New Game Plus, you can also find a marker fragment in this room. I'm going to show it in a second, but to save you doubling back, you can just grab it if you're already in that room. In case you're using the timestamps though and you just want to get the marker fragments, you can only get this on New Game Plus only. I just said only twice. Head back this way to the right and to the area where you have a conversation with Kine, which is just through here into the room that he's standing in, and the marker fragment is on the table right in front of you behind this bottle of wine right there. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our final node in chapter 10. This is the 49th node we can get throughout this. Let's get going. Press that button on the marker, head through here, and then you can find the node. Quick look at the log lists. You might need to pause to take a look at these names if you need to. Make sure you've got them all. And moving on to chapter 11. First up, we've got the Peng treasure. We're starting off with the flight deck, or the hangar bay. That's where you'll want to go on the tram to be in the same place as me. This is where you'll need to go for the main objective. You'll end up in the room with the marker pretty much at the beginning of this chapter, where you need to move it around and activate the bridges and stuff like that. You'll come down this elevator at the beginning, and when you get to the bottom of this elevator you just want to turn immediately to your left, and there will be some kinesis boxes in your way. Watch out for necromorphs as you enter. Yeah, just over there is where the Peng treasure is. Move these kinesis boxes out of the way, and in this locker is where you can find the Peng treasure. Get you that achievement or trophy. This is a really short mission for collectibles, but starting from pretty much the same place where we found the Peng treasure, just at the bottom of the elevator as you enter this area. For anyone who's using timestamps, this is the room that you move the marker around in with the load-in gear, and you have to move the bridges and whatnot. Over here by this dead wall tentacle guy, you can find the weapon upgrade for the force gun, which is the suspension module. So I'm going to dial it back a couple of notches and start from this point every time. This next audio log is pretty much right next to the one we just got, but in case anyone's using timestamps, they can follow from pretty much outside where the Peng treasure is. This is the room where you have to move the marker around with the load-in gear and move the bridges and stuff. There's the audio log right there.
I'm being held prisoner by Dr. Mercer.
Check the map if you are confused as to where I am, but we've also got a node in this room. Again, this is the room where you move the marker around. Right next to the Peng treasure is where we're starting. In the room where you move the marker with the load-in gear and mess with the bridges and stuff. The node is just in this corner over here. Okay, so after getting the node, we can get the final marker fragment in the game, which is number 12. You can only get this in New Game Plus, and I'll keep mentioning that, and I'm sorry for repeating myself so much, but I kind of feel like it has to be done. So we're going to go all the way over to the back left corner, the far left corner, and this is my New Game Plus save. The marker was right there on that shelf. I'm sure you saw it. And now that we've done that, starting from again the same place next to the Peng treasure, we're going to head all the way back to the crew deck so that we can do the final step to get the alternate ending. Again, you can only do this on New Game Plus. You may have noticed while I'm picking up the marker fragments that I'm showing a different save file I'm running around with the hand cannon. And that's because you can't get the marker fragments on New Game. You have to do it on New Game Plus, but a lot of these collectibles disappear if you've already picked them up. Stuff like the schematics will disappear if you've already picked them up once. But yeah, I have to basically show a lot of these collectibles on New Game and those other ones on New Game Plus. So if you've collected all 12 of the marker fragments on New Game Plus and then still on New Game Plus you go where we're going now, you'll see something a little bit different to what I see. I'm basically going to the right place to show you where to go. But once you interact with the thing we're going to interact with, you'll see all the marker fragments appear in front of you. Because I haven't got them on this save, you won't see that. Because this is New Game for me, but assuming that you followed on New Game Plus and you've got the marker fragments, go to exactly the same place, do exactly the same thing as what I'm doing now, and everything will work out for you and you'll get the alternate ending. Yeah, I didn't have the footage of me doing this last part on New Game Plus, so I kind of had to just use some footage of me doing it here, but it doesn't make a difference to you if you followed along and got all the marker fragments. Essentially, yeah, it's like it's a table you interact with, and if you don't do this, you won't get the alternate ending. I actually made the mistake of collecting all the fragments in a run, and then coming here and not coming here and finishing the game, and I was wondering why I didn't get the alternate ending. But luckily for me, I had backup saves, so I could just come back here and do this one step. But yeah, we're going to the executive quarters on the crew deck. And when you come in here, you'll get attacked, but I'll edit that out for now. We're going into Captain Matthias's room, the first room on the left. And when you go in there, you just want to interact with the table that's in here. You may have already found this or seen this. But yeah, just interact with this and the markers will all appear on the table and you'll be good to go. You'll get your alternate ending when you beat the game. Sorted. Ignore that text log also. We've already picked that up in a previous chapter. Okay, so node 51 then. So when we need to move the marker towards the shuttle, if we head towards the marker, we can find a node pretty much right next to it as we enter that area. So come all the way back here to where the marker will be. It might not show up just yet, but it will show up shortly in this area. But the node is just to the left as you enter this room right here. I think you need to land to actually open this box. Wouldn't let me do it for a second, so I had to back up and land so that I could actually open it. One more collectible to get for this chapter then. This is another node. This is a very short mission for collectibles. So I've started here, just in the area where Kine gets shot. Don't ask me why, but I wanted to bring Kine with me here. I felt bad for the guy. Don't know if I should or not. What kind of happens with this guy if you leave his body here? When you come back to get on the shuttle, his body disappears. But if you bring him with you the whole time, you can actually put him on the shuttle. The sucky thing is that he disappears when you go to chapter 12. But at least he got to take a ride on that shuttle, man. In my head, we got him off the Ishimura anyway. Also, it doesn't matter because we've got to wait for Daniels to shut up. She literally talks for ages here, but you need to wait here for her to stop talking. Then you'll get a call from Nicole. When that ends, you can go through this door. I'm still bringing Kine with me. I feel bad for him. So we're going all the way up here. I'm sorry for being a little bit slow, but I was determined. Open up this door, and the node is in this room, just on your right. Right there. Okay, so after picking up that node, we'll be done with chapter 11. And let's take a little look at the log list just so you guys can check. You've got all of the logs, make sure you haven't missed any. Chapter 12 is another short one. We'll get onto that shortly. Yeah, not really too many for chapter 11. Very few to pick up. No bother. So when you get off the shuttle and you move the marker around, if you come over to this side, you can find a node just on this back wall. Right, next up we've got a text log, first one, called the retrieval order. We're just following the path that the marker takes when it comes off the shuttle here. Nicole will be waiting around for you. Once it's reached that point at the end of this track, you can cross back over and come into this room. Right here. And the text log is just in front of you, right there. So this is a good place to go to the shop and save if you need to. But starting from here, facing the shop, there's a room on your left that has an audio log in it. Have a little look around just in case you're confused as to where I am. But yeah, just in here is the audio log right there.
This is Sergeant Bram Newman. PSEC evacuation report.
Alright. Next up we've got a node. This is in the room where you can move the marker around and you have to lift the bridges just before you go through the door right here. Pretty sure this is the first room you come into where you're moving the marker around. It's the room where you get attacked by a bunch of necromorphs. But over here you can find holding zone 2B. And you can get a node in this room. There's also some credits and stuff. Also, if you turn around and shoot the tendril on the opposite side of the room, you can go and get some more loot from that side of the room in the lockers and stuff. Right there. Alright, so this is just before you go into the room where you have to activate all of the engines or whatever it is and deactivate the elevator. You'll fight the brute in this room and all that good stuff. In this box at the back you can find 3 nodes in a box. So on the way back from this area, just after you've reactivated, is it the turbines or something? I can't remember what it is you have to reactivate, but you're messing with a bunch of batteries. That's the easiest way to put it. You'll get attacked by a bunch of necromorphs when you come back, and the brute that enters the area at the end will drop a node. So do your best to avoid getting splatted. Watch out for them lurkers, mate. So make short work of the brute and get yourself another node. There we go. Only a couple more collectibles till we've got them all. We've come so far. Alright, next up we've got a text log. Recombination study. So this one is underneath the final tendril that you have to destroy in this area with the marker. Look out for necromorphs and tentacles that spawn in. I am getting beat up. But yeah, the text log is just underneath where the tendril is. So our very last collectible is a node. This one can be found just after you have the whole situation with Daniels and Nicole. If you want to check the map to know where you are, it's right there. But we're just going through the access tunnel and follow the access tunnel all the way along. And the node is in the room at the end. Alright, so that's all the collectibles. Hopefully this video has helped you get all the collectibles or trophies you've been looking for. Let me know in that comment section if it has. If you want to support me, subscribe to the channel, drop a like. All that stuff really helps with the YouTube algorithm. I'd be very, very appreciative if you could do that. And if you want to support me a little bit further, you can always come on over to my live stream channel at twitch.tv/ifreams. You can find that pinned down in the comment section below. There's that final log list in case you want to take a look. Have yourself a great day. And until next time, take it easy.